Today's episode of Ramblings with Rebecca is brought to you by viewers like you. Now we have a request! Yay! It's clearly exam season, I think especially for American universities, because all of the international relations ramblings are getting spikes, and we've had a few requests to talk about post-structuralism and post-colonialism. So we'll ramble about post-structuralism today, and then we'll do post-colonialism tomorrow, and hopefully they'll come in time for your midterm, people who requested it. Thanks for the request. So welcome to Ramblings with Rebecca. I'm Rebecca Farnum, and today, post-structuralism. Post-structuralism, it's a label that was created by Americans. The Americans got one! Woohoo! We got one of these theories. But most of the actual theoretical developments in post-structuralism were not American intellectuals, so we just made up the name. Well. It's also quite recent, so we're talking 1960s and 1970s, mid-20th century. Post-structuralism is, shockingly perhaps, a response to structuralism. Structuralism came about in Europe in the early 1900s, and it was this thought process, idea, concept, whatever you want to call it, arguing that human culture can be understood but as a structure. So you can model different parts of human culture and society on some kind of system. A lot of this was closely tied to linguistics, actually. So you could take this language system and like break up sentences into words and words into syllables and syllables into certain phonemes and sounds and that kind of thing. You could do that same kind of thing with human cultures and societies. So you had anthropologists and sociologists trying to break down societies into little parts and, kind of do A plus B plus C equals D, and D is a culture or whatever. So post-structuralist authors and intellectuals are pushing against that. They have a lot of different critiques of them. It's important to note that a lot of post-structuralists, as they are classified by American, post-structuralist people who put forth this label, don't necessarily take on that label. So people like Foucault, Judith Butler, Derrida, often called post-structuralist, they may or may not take on that term themselves. The movement is quite tied to postmodernism, so it's tricky, it's a bit vague, maybe kind of out there. I think in a lot of classes, particularly classrooms on international relations, post-structuralism sometimes gets kind of like a nod and move on. So if you are studying for midterm and you're confused, it's okay. Your faculty probably are too, because they probably didn't do all that much on it either. I think big things to bear in mind with post-structuralism are kind of, the common core themes of it. Is this push against the idea that we can easily understand humans, and that we can easily understand societies and cultures. So post-structuralist thought might be something like, a human society is greater than the sum of its parts. All right? So if you have me and Matt and Evangeline, and we make up a culture, even if you know everything about me, and everything about Matt, and everything about Evangeline, adding up all of those things does not actually tell you what me, Matt, and Evangeline are like as a society. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, so something is greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just person A plus person B plus person C equals group ABC. Post-structuralism would also argue, basically, like, humans are way too complex for us to pretend that we can understand them or classify them easily. Like, it's far beyond that. And we need to stop pretending that we can. So goes quite into a lot of constructivist epistemology, saying we don't know truth exactly. We can't, perfectly model a culture, that kind of thing. In international relations, post-structuralism would extend this to the state level. Right, so you have these different theories of international relations, realism, liberalism, that kind of thing, about how states act, about what the global system looks like, about how, international relations work. A post-structuralist approach to international relations would be like, yo, you can't pretend that you understand or know exactly what states are and do, and that system's always going to be around and in place. It's really a question of interpretation and understanding, and these things are in flux, and they look very different from different angles. So I hope that's remotely useful, and good luck.